outrun the moment, she said. It's not the inn you should fear. It's what remembers you. She looked at me like I was already dead, and begged me not to become like her. The moment I held her hand, something else realized I existed. Chapter 1. The inn stood crooked against the wind, its wooden frame groaning, as if it remembered every storm that had ever clawed at its walls. Elias Ward paused at the rusted gate, glancing up at the flickering sign. Black Hollow Inn. Another missing persons case. Another place the locals refused to speak about. He exhaled slowly. Just a building, he muttered. Just another job. But his hand hesitated on the gate. Inside, the air was stale thick with something older than dust. The floorboards creaked under his boots as he stepped into the dim lobby. A bell sat on the counter. Ding. Anyone here? Silence. Elias tapped it. Then, you shouldn't be here. Elias froze. The voice was soft. Close. Right behind him. He spun around, nothing. His pulse quickened. All right, he said under his breath, forcing a smirk. Auditory hallucinations already. Great start. He turned back to the counter and saw her, standing across from him. A woman, pale as moonlight, her dark hair falling over one eye. Her dress looked wrong, old, torn at the edges as if time itself had tried to erase her. Elias didn't move. You're real, he said carefully. Her lips parted slightly, as though she hadn't expected him to see her. You can see me? She whispered. I was about to ask you the same thing. She took a step back, not walking, gliding. You need to leave. Not happening, Elias replied. People disappeared here. I'm here to find out why. Her expression tightened fear. But not for herself. For you, she said. You don't understand what this place does. Then help me understand. She shook her head. It's too late for anyone who stays. Elias studied her. You're one of them, aren't you? A flicker of pain crossed her face. My name is Lyra. Elias. She hesitated, as if the exchange of names carried weight. Then she whispered, I tried to leave too. Chapter 2. Hours passed. Or maybe minutes. Time felt unstable inside the inn. Elias sat in one of the decaying chairs while Lyra lingered near the staircase, as though afraid to come too close. You said you tried to leave, he prompted. What stopped you? Her gaze drifted upward. It doesn't let you go. It? The lights flickered. Lyra's voice dropped to almost nothing. The inn isn't empty. A loud bang echoed from upstairs. Elias shot to his feet. That's helpful timing. Don't go up there, Lyra said sharply. That's exactly where I'm going. She moved suddenly faster than before and grabbed his arm. Her touch was ice. Elias sucked in a breath. For a moment, neither of them spoke. You don't feel that? He asked quietly. I do, she said. Their eyes locked. Something shifted, unexpected, fragile. You're alive, Lyra whispered. Warm, and you're not, he said gently. She didn't pull her hand away. Still didn't answer my question, Elias added. What's upstairs? Help. Her eyes met his. No one came. Elias stepped closer. I'm here now. Something broke in her expression. Something fragile and long buried. The dragging sound stopped. Silence. Chapter 3. A voice, deep and wrong, echoed from the room. Another one. The door slammed open. Inside, darkness moved. Not a figure. Not a shape. Something shifting, pressing against the edges of reality. Lyra gasped. It's awake. Elias pulled a flashlight from his coat, shining it into the room. The beam flickered violently. Shapes twisted within the darkness, faces. Hands. Something reaching. Stay behind me, Elias said. It wants you, Lyra whispered. It feeds on fear. On people. Then it picked the wrong guy. But his voice trembled. The darkness surged forward. The temperature plummeted. Elias staggered back as whispers filled his ears, hundreds of voices. Overlapping, desperate. "Help us. Don't leave. Stay," Lyra cried out, clutching her head. "It's using them." Elias grabbed her shoulders. "Look at me." She did. "You said you tried to leave," he said urgently. "How?" She shook her head. "I couldn't. It held me. Then we break it." "You can't," she said, tears forming. "It will take you too." Elias's grip softened. "Then don't let it." The darkness lunged. Lyra screamed and threw herself between it and Elias. The shadows wrapped around her, pulling, tearing. "Lyra," Elias shouted. She looked back at him, her form already unraveling. "You shouldn't have come," she said, voice breaking. "But I'm glad you did." No, we're getting out of this." She smiled faintly. For the first time. I wasn't alone. Elias surged forward, grabbing her hand. Again ice. But this time, he didn't let go. "Then don't leave me now." The shadows roared. The walls cracked. Something in the inn shifted like a heartbeat stuttering. Lyra stared at him, stunned. "You're not afraid," she said. "I am," he admitted. "But not of losing." A pause. "Of losing you." The darkness faltered. Just for a second. Lyra's eyes widened. "It feeds on fear," she whispered. "But you are done being scared." The grip of the shadows loosened. Lyra pulled free. The darkness shrieked, violent, furious. Cracks spread across the walls like fractures in reality itself. "Go," Lyra cried. "Now." "Not without you. You can't take me with you." "Watch me." He dragged her toward the stairs. The inn screamed, wood splintering, walls collapsing inward as if trying to trap them. They stumbled into the lobby. The front door burst open. Cold night air rushed in. Elias didn't stop running until they crossed the gate. Chapter 4. Silence. The inn stood still again. Too still. Elias bent over, catching his breath. "We made it," he said. No answer. He turned. Lyra stood a few steps away, fading. "No," he said immediately. No. She smiled softly. "It doesn't reach this far." "Then why?" "Because I do." Her form flickered like a dying light. "I was bound to it," she said. "Not the building, but what it made of me." Elias stepped closer. "There has to be a way." "There is." She touched his face, barely there. "You leave." His jaw tightened. "That's not enough. It has to be." A long silence stretched between them. Then Elias said quietly, "Stay." She looked at him, really looked. "I can't." "You don't know that." "I do." He shook his head. "I just found you. And I found you," she said. "That's more than I ever thought I'd have again." Her form flickered harder now. "Elias." He grabbed her hand again. Fainter this time. "I'm not forgetting you. You won't have to," she said gently. She leaned closer. For a moment, just one, the cold faded. And then, she was gone. The wind moved through the empty road. Behind him, Black Hollow Inn stood silent. Waiting. Elias stared at it for a long time, then turned away. But not alone. Because somewhere in the quiet space between memory and shadow, Lyra was still there. And she had saved him. The road should have felt like freedom. Instead, Elias couldn't shake the feeling that something had followed him. 3 nights later, he woke to the sound of breathing. Not his own. Slow, uneven, right beside him. Elias's eyes snapped open. His room was dark, lit only by the faint glow of the street lamp outside. He lay perfectly still, listening. There it was again. Chapter 5. He turned his head slightly. Lyra? He whispered. Silence. Then, softly, I told you not to forget me. Relief hit him first. Sharp, overwhelming. Then fear followed just as quickly. She stood near the window this time. Her outline faint but unmistakable. You're here, he said, sitting up. I shouldn't be, Lyra replied. Her voice was different. Still soft but strained, like something was pulling at her from far away. Elias swung his legs off the bed. What do you mean? She didn't answer immediately. Instead, she looked around the room, as if seeing it for the first time. It's warm, she murmured. You said you couldn't leave. I didn't, she said. That made his chest tighten. Then how? Her head snapped toward the door. A loud thud echoed from the hallway. Both of them froze. Another thud. Closer. Elias stood slowly. That's not normal. No, Lyra whispered. It isn't. The doorknob rattled. Once, twice, then stopped. Silence flooded the room. Elias moved toward the door. Don't, Lyra said sharply. He hesitated. If someone's out there, it's not someone. The doorknob began to turn. Slowly. Elias stepped back. The door creaked open an inch. Then two. Then it stopped. A long, thin shadow stretched across the floor. Not cast by anything in the room. It was reaching in. Lyra's voice broke. It found you. Elias swallowed hard. How? Her eyes met his. You held on to me. The implication landed like ice in his veins. I brought it with me. The shadow twitched like it had heard. Then it slid further into the room. Too fluid. Too alive. Elias grabbed the lamp from the bedside table and hurled it at the door. The light shattered. Darkness swallowed the room. The shadow surged forward. They ran. Down the stairs. Out into the street. Barefoot, breathless. Elias didn't stop until the cold air burned his lungs. He turned. The shadow pooled at the edge of the building, twitching but not crossing into the open light. For now, Lyra stood beside him, flickering more violently than before. I'm tearing, she whispered. What? It's splitting me, she said, clutching her chest. Part of me is still there. With it, Elias shook his head. No. You're here. I can see you. For how long? She asked. He had no answer. They found refuge in an abandoned chapel at the edge of town. Dust covered the pews. The air smelled of old wood and forgotten prayers. Elias pushed the door shut behind them. Lyra lingered near the altar, her form unstable. You shouldn't have come back, she said quietly. You came to me, he replied. I didn't mean to. Then why did you? She looked at him, eyes filled with something deeper than fear. Because I didn't want to disappear alone. The honesty in her voice hit harder than anything else. Elias stepped closer. You won't. She gave a faint, sad smile. You don't know what you're promising. Then tell me. Lyra hesitated. Then, slowly, when it takes someone, it doesn't just kill them. Elias felt his stomach drop. It keeps them, she continued. Uses them. Their voice. Their memories. The whispers in the inn flashed through his mind. Those voices, he said, are still there. She confirmed. Still aware. A long silence followed. Then Elias said, Then we end it. Lyra shook her head immediately. You saw it. You felt it. And I also saw it hesitate. She frowned. What? When you were being pulled in, Elias said. It stopped. Just for a second. That wasn't it, she said. That was you. He met her gaze. Exactly. Understanding slowly crept into her expression. No, she said. Elias, no. It feeds on fear, he said. So what happens if we take that away? It's not that simple. Then we make it simple. He'll die, she snapped. Maybe, he said. Her voice broke. I won't watch that happen. You already did, he said gently. That silenced her. Night deepened. The chapel creaked softly. And then, the whispers returned. Faint at first, then louder. Elias, come back. Chapter 6. Lyra stiffened. It's here. The doors trembled. The windows rattled. Darkness began to seep through the cracks like ink bleeding into the world. Elias exhaled slowly. No running this time. Lyra grabbed his arm. Please. He turned to her. For a moment, everything else faded again. If I don't stop it, he said, it won't stop coming. Her grip tightened. And if you do? He didn't answer. Because they both knew. The doors burst open. The shadow poured inside larger now, more defined. Faces twisted within it, mouths open in silent screams. Lyra stepped in front of Elias. No, she said. The shadow paused. A chorus of voices echoed. Return. She trembled but didn't move. I won't, she said. The darkness surged. Elias stepped forward, placing himself beside her. You're not taking her. The whispers twisted angry now. Yours, too. Try it, Elias said. His heart pounded. Fear clawed at him. But he didn't step back. Lyra looked at him, really looked. You're terrified, she whispered. Yeah, he said. But I'm still here. Something changed. The shadow hesitated again. Lyra turned toward it. And for the first time, she stepped forward. I was afraid of you, she said, voice shaking. That's why you held me. The darkness rippled. But I'm not anymore. The words felt fragile. Dangerous. But real. The shadow recoiled slightly. Elias understood. It's not just fear, he said. It's control. Lyra nodded slowly. It only wins if we give in. The whispers grew frantic. Stay, stay, stay. Lyra reached for Elias's hand. This time, it felt warmer. Barely. But enough. She smiled through tears. I'm not alone. Never were, he said. The shadow lunged. And they didn't move. Light didn't explode. There was no dramatic burst. Just silence. The whispers cut off. The darkness unraveled slowly. Like smoke losing its shape. The faces faded, one by one, until there was nothing left. The chapel stood still, empty, quiet. Elias let out a breath he didn't realize he'd been holding. Is it over? Lyra didn't answer. He turned. She stood in front of him, clearer than before, more solid, more real. I can feel, she whispered. Everything. Elias stepped closer. You're still here. I'm free, she said. Hope flickered between them. Careful, fragile, but, she added. His chest tightened. No, I don't belong here, she said softly. Stay anyway. She smiled, sad but peaceful. You already know I can't. He did, but that didn't make it easier. I don't want to lose you, he said. You won't, she replied. She placed her hand over his heart. Warm, this time, truly warm. I'm part of you now, his breath caught. And you're the reason I'm not afraid anymore. Her form began to glow faintly. Lyra, it's okay, she said. For once, it actually felt like it might be. She leaned forward, resting her forehead against his. Goodbye, Elias. Not goodbye, he said quietly. She smiled. Then, like morning mist in sunlight, she was gone. Months later, the case was closed. Black Hollow Inn collapsed in on itself. Nothing left but rotten wood and ash. No bodies were found. No evidence remained. But Elias knew the truth. Sometimes, late at night, when the world was quiet, he could still feel warmth in the cold. And hear a voice, soft as memory. I'm still here. And this time, it didn't sound like a warning. It sounded like love. Thanks for listening. Comment your thoughts about the story. We could love to hear from you.